You're watching WRKM Channel 22, number one in the region. The following WRKM broadcast is for mature audiences only. So if you are in one of our major areas, Texas, California, Florida, New York, put your kids to sleep. Because this show is not for them. Or it could be. Maybe you want to expose your kids to the horrors of life early. I'm into that. I turned out insanely well because my mom exposed me to the horrors of life early. You know, I saw R-rated movies at 8. In no way do I view human life as cheap. What are we talking about this week? We're talking about a prankster getting shot from YouTube. Or not by YouTube, from YouTube. He's on YouTube. He got shot. Did he deserve it? We'll find out. We got a fentanyl dealing grandma. Does she deserve to be put in jail? I don't know. We'll find out about that too. Rupert Murdoc, at 93, had a breakup. That's odd for a man his age. We'll cover that too. And lastly, Don Lemon's kind of a dick. Told you so. It's Saturday night. Let's have the talks we can't have when the sun is up. Good evening. I'm Ralphie Martinez, and this will end in darkness. You know, this country has been going through a hard time recently, and we've been covering it through the economics of the situation, the politics of the situation. One thing we haven't really spoken about is the gun issue in this country. It's been a while. As Stain would say. You know, that song is stuck in my head mainly because there were these compilation CDs that would come out and the commercials would have that song. And everything I can remember. And it's been a while. So every time I think of it's been a while, that's what I think of. And I notice sometimes in conversation I'll say it that way. Well, it's been a while. And people look at me weird. As they should. Who talks like that? Nobody. Just people who are starved for attention. But it's been a while since we talked about the gun element in this country. And it deserves a serious look into. You know, we're smart guys on this podcast, right, Bobby? Exactly. Just give me the thumbs up. Don't say anything now. That's what we've trained you to do. Maybe someday you'll help out in a way. I don't know. But truly, there are too many guns on the street, they say. I don't own one, so I don't think there are that many, actually. If there was a lot of it, I would own it. Pokemon cards, had them. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, had them. Tamagotchis, had them. Beyblades, had them. And those were everywhere. So if guns were everywhere, I should have a gun by now. But I don't. And it's not for lack of trying either. Actually, it is for lack of trying. I just want to give the projection that I'm tough, because when you have a gun, you're tough. But I'm not tough. Just a guy with a microphone in my hand, arm and stand. Oh, bars. See that? That's why people watch this show. But recently, another gun, not death, but a gun fiasco occurred. And it should be talked about on this program. YouTube prankster shot and wounded by target of practical joke. Tanner Cook, 21, was reportedly playing a joke on a man at a Virginia mall when the victim of the prank shot him in the abdomen. Popular U.S. YouTube creator is now a job, who prides himself on making videos in which he displays the odd behavior of people off intends to keep at it. They wrote this all weird. What they meant to say was odd behavior to put people off intends to keep at it. You got it, The Guardian. Tanner Cook, who regularly makes videos of himself pranking strangers for nearly 40,000 subscribers on a channel called Classified Goons, was reportedly playing a practical joke on a man in a small mall in the Washington suburb of Dulles, Virginia. Holy shit. Our good friend Alan Dulles is back at it again. Maybe he would be proud that a shooting like this took place in his town, his namesake of Virginia. Dulles was always about getting rid of problems, mainly the leaders of Guatemala, the Congo, and Iran. At about midday on Sunday, a friend was recording him when things took a deadly turn. According to the authorities, as well as an interview Cook gave to the local, because that's the thing, like Cook still was able to give interviews. Just because you're shot doesn't mean you can't provide content. Which shout out to him. The man, identified as Alan Coley, pulled a gun out and shot Cook in the stomach. He survived the wound and had to undergo surgery after first responders brought him to the hospital in critical condition. I was playing a simple joke, and this guy didn't take it well. That's how all these hick pranksters talk. Cook said the man who shot him didn't say anything before firing on him, which, to be fair, the gun kind of says it all. A criminal complaint was filed against Coley after the shooting identified Cook as his alleged victim, according to a report. But what was the prank? No one gets into what the prank was. It took place in the food court. Fantastic. That's where, if you're going to shoot someone at the mall, it should be the food court. Because you might have the post-shooter's high, and you will be very hungry. And if you're lucky, Dairy Queen's right there. You can have their good old flamethrower burger. What, Bobby? Am I not allowed to be concerned about the well-being of the alleged shooter as well? I am a person who sees both sides. I am in the middle. They don't say what the prank is, but the father of Tanner Cook says, thankfully, God protected our son, and he will live to prank again. And I have a bit of an issue with that. I think the shooting was actually God. I think God was telling him, it's time to stop. These pranks you see on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they're not funny. They're just really inconveniencing people. Now, don't get me wrong. We here love to inconvenience people. We make a lot of our jokes at the expense of other people. Some would say they're mean jokes. Unnecessarily. But when you have taken on the job I have to document the collapse of America, one must be truthful. Or at least true to what he sees. And yes, a man just randomly shooting a kid in a mall is a bit much. But to be fair, he was getting pranked. And maybe the prank wasn't good. And we have two problems in this country. Too many guns, too many pranksters. And maybe this is an opportunity to marry the two. Now, I haven't seen Tanner Cook's stuff. But seeing as how he was doing a prank to inconvenience someone, I can assure you he's a piece of shit. Now, I'm not saying he should have got shot. But I understand why he got shot. And maybe it's time we identified who in our society is a possible shooter and directed them at the YouTube pranksters. So we solve both solutions at the same time. These shooters get it out of their system and they take out a group of people we don't want, which is the YouTube prankster. That is a solution to gun control, if you ask me, or a solution to gun shootings, if you ask me. That's a real solution. Now, I'm not advocating anyone does that. I'm just spitballing. This is a thought experiment. The same way no one takes Jordan Peterson seriously, take this not seriously. This is a thought experiment. Not saying we should be doing this, but it is an option. And considering some of these YouTubers who are annoying are of a certain age, it could really just get to the bottom of the problem for both sides. Them being annoying and these shooters wanting to shoot young people. Shoot the right young people. Is that what I'm advocating for? Is that 2024's mission of this campaign? I think it might be. But we are not advocating violence. This is not a call to action. This is simply a thought experiment. There are other ones too. Like there's the girls who like look good, or at least are sevens, going, you could have this PlayStation or one night with me. Which one would you pick? And it's kind of funny because everyone always says the PlayStation or the other thing. Now some say it to be mean, but I mean it, because some of the women doing it have no right to be putting themselves next to a PlayStation. Some have no right comparing themselves to a good ham sandwich either. Some are just not that hot. Just because you got boobs doesn't automatically make you hot. The face still matters. Character still matters. Now, if you told me, hey, would you like to spend an evening with Selma Hayek or have a new PlayStation? I'm spending the evening with Selma Hayek. Not even because I intend to do anything. Because I just want to ask her about movies she's been in and movies she's directed. She has real value beyond her looks. But these Instagram thoughts don't have value. And I also think it's kind of indicative on the sex economy, if you will, right? I think for far too long, don't look at me like that. You know where I'm going. We talked about this the other day. I think dick is undervalued in the current sex economy. Because a guy can't do that. A guy can't go, would you want to spend an interview with me? Or have this dope ass, like, you know, wine set? You know, like, or would you like this dope ass jacuzzi or have a night with me? They can't do any of that. Because dick is devalued. There is no value to dick. Men have no value sexually. None. But I also think vagina is overvalued. Because some of them ain't that great. I mean, I've been out there when I was single. Let me tell you, some of them weren't great. For some of you, that's all you have. But for some men, all we have is our dick. I would like an equal economy to grow. We should keep both at least close to equal value. I'm not talking about the uterus or anything. I'm talking about just purely, I'm not talking about semen. I'm talking about birth of babies. Just penis and dick. That's all I'm talking about. Pussy and dick. There has to be a more equal value. We cannot keep letting these thoughts think that we would sacrifice good beef sandwiches for a night of sex. We can't. Men have to take the power back a little bit, or at least value ourselves more. That's what we have to do. That's a call to arms right there. Say no more. Men, say no more. Say, hey, you know what? I'm actually kind of tired. I'm going to head home. Actually, I got an early thing to do tomorrow. I'm going to go home. Actually, I'm not really interested in that. I'm kind of interested in getting to know you. So let's pump the brakes there. We have to take the power back. And we have to stop liking every picture too. Stop it. Let them earn the like. I would remember, all right. When I was single, right? I had met this really awesome person. I think it was in Williamsburg. I think it was in Union Pole at the time. And we're chit-chatting. And she had the balls. She was like, oh, so are you going to buy me a drink? I'm like, actually, I'm going to ask you to buy me a drink. Because my time is just as valuable. I told her, but I assure you, if you buy me the drink, I will buy you one back. If this conversation's interesting. Because my time is worth something too. She bought me the drink. And I bought her a drink in return. And I never spoke to her again. But I reclaimed my time. As Maxine Waters used to say, I reclaimed my time. As Kamala Harris, I reclaimed my time. Because I am worth it. And I believe in myself. And men should. Men should. And we should also believe in ourselves. When it comes to these YouTube pranksters, we've got to get rid of them. We got to get rid. They're useless. They're useless. The Insta thoughts, are they more valuable than a YouTube prankster? I'm not sure. Because I feel the Insta thoughts create more simps. And in a simp society, how can we last? Simps are going broke. We talked about that 3 episodes ago, I think. 4, who knows? We talked about the simps going broke. The economy's falling apart. Maybe we take those simps and those incels who are potential school shooting victims and we train them to get YouTube pranksters. This is not a call to arms. This is just, I'm hypothetically speaking. This is intellectual jazz, baby. We're just throwing things out there. Isn't it time we made them of some value? Because really, the real issue with guns really is the victims. It's the people who are getting shot that we don't approve of. Like, nah, don't be going after children. Now, when it's a gangster or it's criminals, we don't mind when they get shot because you look for it, you know? Same thing with military people. We don't think the Joker was kind of right in Dark Knight a little bit. I don't like to sympathize with villains, but he had a point there. Everyone, is cool and calm. It isn't until the innocents get taken out that we start making a fuss. So let's shift that a bit. Let's add one more name to the approved shooting list. YouTube pranksters. That's all I'm asking. Or all I'm suggesting. Not a call to arms, by the way. Or a call to action. We're going to have to keep saying that over and over. Bobby in post, put a graphic that says this is not a call to action. But it's something to consider, no? How much longer must we suffer with them? We always love when one of them get punched in the face. Why not take it a step higher? This guy should not be arrested for this crime. He shouldn't. It's not even a crime. He was committing a service. He was doing what's right. That was self-defense. Now, using annoyance as a self-defense argument is slippery slope. I could be annoying, That could make me very well a victim of the very thing I'm suggesting. But when you believe in something, you go all the way. So, maybe it's time. Did I just burp? Yeah, I did. Don't mind it. My burps are very creative, if you notice. They have a very deep baritone to them. And I share them with you because I think they're acoustically amazing. But maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for the pranksters to get shot. Maybe it's time for the pranksters to get shot. One day you're pulling jokes and the guy got a gun. Maybe it's time for the pranksters to get shot. I guarantee you Bradley Cooper didn't see that coming when he was writing A Star Is Born. That I could take that tune and make it for other things. But his dad saying that God's going to take care of him, that's a lie. God doesn't seem to be taking care of anybody right now. He works in mysterious ways. That's what I've been told. And that's what I'm sticking to. But this man should not be shot. Or this man should not be arrested for committing an act that is pure. He was just doing what he knew how to do. Eliminate an utter annoyance. And if you see this kid, and if you watch his video on Classified Goons, he's the most annoying son of a bitch you have ever fucking seen. And I have never, ever, ever sympathized with an annoying son of a bitch in my life. Because as an annoying son of a bitch, I want to be the only annoying son of a bitch. So fuck this dude. And He's going to be fine. I'm not, all right, now maybe the execution is not the goal. Maybe just give him a flesh wound. You let him know. They'll stop pranking. They'll try to find new ways of being funny, like writing skits or doing stand-up. Real stuff. Not dressing up as Target workers. Which is kind of a bothersome thing too. How they do these pranks dressed up as people who are supposed to serve the community. How can I ever trust anyone at Target now? Target was a safe place for me. Even though the name would suggest it's not safe at all. Bro, what's this man's name? We're gonna start a hashtag for this guy right now. All right? We did it for Trump. We're gonna start a hashtag now. Free Alan Coley, bro. Free Alan Coley. He was just doing a civil service. And if we're lucky, he'll be back out soon and taking aim at more pranksters. God bless you. And God bless America, Alan Coley. May you and your family be well. Now, I have no money to give you towards your defense. I'm broke. This show doesn't pay enough. But you will be in our thoughts and prayers. It's the most we can do. Alan Cole isn't the only person that I think is a victim in some way. There was a lady out of San Jose. She worked for a police union. And she was selling fentanyl, Breaking Bad style. Like, she maintained a day job while selling fentanyl on the side. The New York Post reports, and I'm kind of getting annoyed that we keep going to the Post because they can be sensational, but this story is a perfect Post story. An unassuming grandma accused of running a drug ring from her California home has shocked her neighborhood with the comparisons to the TV show Breaking Bad, which, thank God Breaking Bad exists because it just created a whole new level of criminal. Joanne Marie Segovia, that's a good fucking name for a movie, Segovia. Because if she's dealing drugs like to other ethnicities, they can add an element to her name, Segovia, really gross shit. Who worked as an executive director of the San Jose Police Officers Association. Doesn't that make her kind of like a Frank Lucas in a way? Like Frank Lucas had the military importing his heroin. She was doing all this under the guise of the police union. She's a feminist Frank Lucas. We should be applauding this woman. She's more the kind of person you would imagine who would have a chocolate chip cookies or something ready for the kids like a typical grandma. Let me tell you something. If it was a black grandma, they wouldn't be saying any of this shit. They wouldn't say any of this shit. According to an affidavit filed by prosecutors, 64-year-old Segovia received at least 61 packages at her home from October 2015 to January 2023. When interviewed by the officers, the grandma is said to have tried to blame her housekeeper. Of course she blames the Latino. It's easy to blame the Latino when you're running a drug ring. The show Narcos exists. Scarface. Bronx Tale. It's what we're known for. Carlito's Way. They get us every time. And to be fair, I would blame the housekeeper too. They don't get into who the housekeeper is and what her ethnicity is, but she's South American. This is a solid move on her part. The packages came from India, Canada, Great Britain, Hong Kong, China. All people we have some issues with. We're labeled as assorted items, including wedding favors, makeup, supplements, chocolates, and sweets. So she's been doing this for quite some time. Apparently, she had a sickness at some point, undisclosed, so maybe she was doing the Breaking Bad thing. But apparently her husband, who had no idea she was doing this, which is a little odd to me, they both made good money, so she didn't have to do it. But if I'm the husband, right, she had to have started this with her own capital. You only get into the drug game with your own capital. And it had to have been a good sum of money. He didn't ask her what she needed that money for, but were they doing that well? My girlfriend asked for $20. I want to know why. Are you starting a criminal drug empire? My Tina wouldn't. Or would she? Now I have to be careful. Because if this woman can get away with it, what's my girlfriend doing? Is she doing some illegal activities? And if she is, why isn't she including me in them? If you're the husband, you have to feel away. Like, what, am I not able to be part of your criminal empire? Do I have nothing to offer you? As a man, he has to feel emasculated, doesn't he? He's supposed to be the one carrying the gun, making the threats. He's the one who knocks. Apparently not. She is. And that's what makes it all the more scary, because grandmas can be very scary and intimidating. I wonder what her style was. Did she ever chop off some hands? Did she ever beat someone to a bloody pulp? They don't get into those details because the case is ongoing. But I want to know. I want to know how she ran this empire. And it's a hell of an empire to do. Fentanyl? You're selling strictly to whites. And they always have the money for fentanyl. You don't have to worry about that. Unemployment check comes, fentanyl. Social security check comes, fentanyl. Any check, fentanyl. It's a good scheme. I wish I was part of it. Wish I would have worked with her in a heartbeat. At this point in my life, yeah, I'm ready to do something illegal. But of course, they're all saying, oh, she only made thousands of dollars. Horse shit. You've been doing this since 2015 and you only make thousands of dollars? How bad of a drug dealer are you? You've been doing it for 8 years. It has to have been like 8 years now. And you're only making thousands? I know guys in their first few years were making millions. Or maybe that's how you avoid getting caught. Remember in American Gangster when he had the nice coat and he never really had a nice coat. And then he went to the boxing match and saw a nice coat and they knew Frank Lucas was up to some shit. And then bam, they got Frank Lucas. Maybe she learned. Maybe she was like, listen, I can't be seen flashing, but I got the money in the tuck. I'm taken care of. I'm running this whole San Jose situation. San Jose definitely sounds like a place where some kind of Breaking Bad situation would occur. So I'm not surprised by that. But I'm actually impressed by her drug dealing ability a little bit. I feel like she could have made more. I feel like she was really holding herself back financially. And who's to blame her? If she did have this undisclosed sickness, have you seen healthcare today? You have to. You have to. The country's not taking care of you. Take care of yourself. Now, unfortunately, one of her clients did overdose. That's a problem. That is a heavy burden to hold on to because it's your fault. They wouldn't have gotten the fentanyl had you not sold it to them, But then one would say, isn't it on the client to measure the amount of fentanyl they're putting onto their system? I don't know. That's the problem with drug dealing. Where does the responsibility begin and end? At least when I go buy something from a store, their responsibility is, hey, we sold it to you. You're on your own, But with drug dealing, it's like, are you reaching on to a need, a weak person? Is that fair? I don't know. But she's definitely made more than at least $1 million at this shit. The husband will not be reached for comment, apparently. Because he knows. He knew. I don't give a damn what anyone says. His niece is coming out going, oh, there's no way he could have known. Bitch, no, he knew. You mean to tell me she's running a criminal empire from his home and he don't know shit? Now, I know women keep secrets. That's the nature of all relationships and marriages. There are secrets, but how long are you going to hide a drug ring? Walter White couldn't even do that after a while. Who is she, better than Walter White? I think not. She got caught. And she was doing it from her work computer. It's like, and WhatsApp. Like, she wasn't really handling business the right way. She was asking to get caught. But we commend her here for at least trying. Even though she was already well-to-do. So it's not really a come-up story. It's more of a greed story. That's the only part that bothers me about it. If you're her grandkid, what are you thinking? Like, all those great presents came from drug money, Like all those little teddy bears and all that. You just gotta look around your room going, all this is drug money. Blood money, really. Every family event, blood money. Every Thanksgiving, blood money. Even though this is a white family, so technically every Thanksgiving is blood money, if you really think about it, how things worked out in history. But this is definitely a blood money scenario. And if I was her grandchild, I wouldn't give a shit. Nope, not my blood, bro. Blood on her hands. I'm just eating. I would like to be the beneficiary of a drug kingpin, just not the drug kingpin. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be asked to do jobs. That's not my thing. But I like to receive money from potential jobs. That'd be cool. I'm not into the carrying gun thing. You know, I only want one so I can be a badass, but I won't have to fire it. I'm not going to have bullets in it. It's going to be cool. I want to scare a YouTuber if I can. This woman should have a YouTube series. She should be blogging. Every day she's in jail. How did I do it? How do you start your own criminal empire? Maybe while she's in prison, she's interviewing other prisoners, you know? She starts her own kind of Joe Rogan podcast for criminals. And now she's really making the money. Spotify offers her millions of dollars in contract. Something we'll never see here, but maybe we should be drug dealing. Maybe that makes this podcast spicier. But that's what she should be. She should be thinking the long term now. You are the fentanyl grandma. Fentanyl grandma has merch. Fentanyl grandma needs a podcast. She needs a YouTube page, a book. The Netflix documentary is coming out. Bank on it. Start making money. If I'm the husband, I'm copywriting all this shit. Anything I can copyright. Start copywriting. Start making money off it. Then you can also say some of the proceeds will go to the victims of this crime or fentanyl abusers, you know, because you have to do the charity if you really want to be able to benefit from the crime. So do some bullshit charity, but make the money though. This is the time to do it though. Like, he's got to get on it now because this could fall away. You don't want to lose this moment of popularity. This could all go away. Get on it now. You know, I'm trying to think what would the show be called? You know, Behind the Bars with Grandma, you know, Locked Up with Grandma. I don't know. The Prison Granny? No. I can't help you, ma'am. I can't. I got nothing. I'm tapped out on the titles. But this is the way to do it, okay? And I'm not going to say we support her because we also have no money for her defense. But start thinking content. Start thinking media empire, okay? Kim Kardashian went from one sex tape to a multi-million-dollar media empire. You should be thinking big. Take this crime, flip it. Granted, you'll probably be doing 20 years. Unfortunate, but your husband can still live and he can still live comfortably. So can your grandchildren. So can the rest of your family. Don't be selfish now. Start selling your life rights now. This is where it begins. Everything's content now. Do it. You think Donald Trump isn't already playing content? I guarantee you, dude. The second he's in jail, or if he even touches a prison for a weekend, cameras will be there. He recently got, fingerprinted. He was also in court, appearing for a judge. It was so great to watch liberals celebrate it as if it means anything. Doesn't mean jack shit. All 34 of those counts are going to be pled down to smaller things, and he'll walk away with a slap on the wrist. Fun times. And he'll still be the Republican nominee. You'll still have to go against him. And he's still one of the most killer debaters of all time because he doesn't believe in rules. Just utter insults. Who's going to stop him? Nobody. Maybe if he's president, he pardons the grandma. You know what I mean? Because he's definitely doing Sudafed, from what I hear. He's been crushing Sudafed. That's why he has so much energy. Yeah, they're saying he's been crushing that. He doesn't drink at all. Doesn't do drugs. With Sudafed, apparently, he has loads of that shit. And it gives him energy, which explains the sniffing a little bit. But her life isn't over. Her husband's life isn't over. Hell, Rupert Murdoc's life's not over, apparently. 93 years old, was getting engaged to a 66-year-old woman. They broke up. How unfortunate. You know, just when you think that old evil curmudgeon found love for the 5th time, you know, when you think that things could change his view on the world a little bit and make him a little happier, fiance's out at 93. Even though I would argue being broken up with at 93 is probably a lot better than being broken up with at 23, 33. But still has to hurt. Someone doesn't want to spend your last years with you, which for him is probably at most 2.5. And I'm being generous there. 93, what's keeping him alive? Hate? I imagine so. Rupert Murdoc was engaged to a San Francisco police chaplain and former dental hygienist, Anne Leslie Smith, who had become a conservative pundit, which tells you everything you need to know how down bad they are. They will take anyone as a pundit. If you thought Candace Owens was bad, she was something else. From dental hygienist to telling you what you should do with your children. Ain't that some shit? That's the beauty, I think, of conservatism. Like they believe that everyday people know things and they don't. And they give them microphones and let them speak, and they shouldn't. I kind of believe elitism a little bit, just a tad. And here she is. She rose up the ranks, and she was about to marry into one of the biggest media empires in history. And even she said, I'm good. All she had to do was last the next 2 years. The amount of money she would have gotten in that divorce, or not necessarily divorce, but in that death. That's how you got to look at it when you're trying to get engaged to a 90-something-year-old. How much longer do I have to deal with this dude? You know, everyone called it a whirlwind romance, but I don't think you can have a whirlwind romance in 93. You can have a nicely paced one, a leisurely paced romance, but a whirlwind, no, he's gonna have a heart attack as a whirlwind anything. I can't imagine what they would do hanging out. Where are they watching? I can't even imagine them having sex, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone can. Like, 93 years old? What noises is he making at 93? Can't he even come at this point? Is it just dust? Like, when he's banging, is all the dead skin just coming off him all the time? And it's just dust everywhere. It's like you're making love in a Prince video from all the dead skin and dust flowing around you. He looks like a walrus, you know? Who knows what's coming out of that body when you attempt to bang him? I've heard so many horrible sex noises in my life. From videos to, you know, noisy people to my own sex noises. There are horrible noises out there. The benefit of living in New York is that you can hear how people bang. Like, just like 2 nights, that can't be 2 nights, it had to be 4 nights ago. So I guess someone across the building, because my building has a courtyard in the middle, and I think someone across the building, or across the complex, had their window open. They were going at it. And it sounded like some, like, fucking horrible noises. Like some Lars von Trier, scary ass noises. Like demons were coming out of the fucking sky. Like it was something else. And some dude yelled, shut the fuck up, and they finally stopped. But to be fair, it is getting nicer out. You should be able to bang with the windows open. Everyone should know about your passion. You think Rupert Murdoc's stopping anyone from knowing about his passion? No, he probably has videotapes of that shit. Probably has videotapes of giving out his passion. But I can't imagine the noises he makes. I'd be horrified. I've heard some bad noises in my life. I'm traumatized by some of the noises I've heard in my life. Like those noises 2 nights ago, I only heard them because I just paused the movie I was watching on my iPad, and went, "Oh, what's happening here?" It was scary, and they weren't like, feminine noises that you don't mind hearing. It's these guttural demon male noises, as if like someone was getting pegged in the ass, and just it was scary. We were all scared. And one brave man, I think from the 6th floor, was like, "Hey, shut the fuck up, all right? We get it. Close the window." And it was one of the, it reminds me why I love living in New York. Because you can have those social interactions. And then sometimes you can judge people based on how long it lasts. You keep it like a timetable, or like how David Meltzer, for wrestling matches, has the timestamp with his stopwatch. That's how you gotta do it, I feel. A friend of mine was having a similar situation in his building. I told him, "Dude, stopwatch it." And then just keep a track record of it at the end of the month. Post it on the door. Like, "Hey, I see the times are improving. That's great. But you might want to consider the other." That's how you have fun in New York, I think. When you live in such close proximity to people, that's the key. You make it fun for everyone involved. Now, I don't know how Leslie Ann was going to make it fun with Rupert Murdoc. He can't move. Just imagine him trying to thrust his hips. All of it breaks. It has to be Mr. Glass syndrome over there. There's no way. And he's got that droopy skin too. It's like banging Jabba the Hutt, man. Who wants that? Not I. If I ever get that bad looking, kill me, Bobby. Take a gun, put it in my mouth, and blow my fucking brains out. I don't want to get there. But, you should give Rupert some advice. Even this is his 5th breakup, but, Rupert, just gotta look in the mirror and ask yourself, where did I go wrong in this relationship? What could I have done better? You're 90 something, so you really can't do much changing, but it wouldn't kill you to apologize for some of the things maybe you did. And just know, hey, tomorrow might be another day. It might be. No guarantees. There are no tomorrows, so don't get too hung up on this, buddy. You could die at any minute. Do not get sad, Rupert. You are still a billionaire, and I'm sure someone loves you in your life. And now maybe you won't have anyone there for when you eventually croak and fall over in your mansion, and we won't find you for days, but at some point, 4 other women cared about you, and this one kind of did, and now it's over. They had just announced their engagement 2 weeks ago, so it's kind of sad. I was looking forward to it, This was my royal wedding, really. This was going to be my royal wedding. I was going to keep track of what her wedding dress was and all that, but it's not going to happen. 93 years old, it's tough to get broken up with at 93. I wouldn't say we're here for him, but I wouldn't mind taking the phone call. And if we can do the podcast, and we just give him some love advice, if people call in and give him some love advice. Breaking off an engagement at 93. Jeez. What do you think, Bob? You got any advice? No? Okay. Sometimes I wish you would just feed me something, buddy. Just feed me something. But you know who does need some advice right now? Don Lemon. Don Lemon's kind of an asshole, like we told people for some time. Everyone loved Don Lemon for some reason, even though for much of his career, he had to have been one of the most anti-black dudes I ever met in my life. Like every time a black kid would get arrested, he would always side with the cops. It was fucking weird. It was bizarre in that kind of way. Then he saw the Trayvon Martin thing happen. He rebranded, then became super pro-black, but behind the scenes was kind of a dick. Let's read up from Variety. Don Lemon's misogyny as CNN exposed. Malicious tweets mocking female coworkers and diva-like behavior. Let's pull up a few things. This is a long article. This is one of those good variety articles that they really break, and they have multiple sources. They really break everything down. But I want to get to a few parts that were very interesting to me. So let's take a look. All right. So this goes to a coworker named Kyra Phillips. All right. But his apathy towards Phillips was particularly concerning, and he had many members of the close-knit Atlanta team on edge. While Phillips was on assignment to Iraq, a high-profile gig that Lemon coveted, he vented his disappointment at being passed over by tearing up pictures and notes on top of her desk and inside of her desk. So he would just go over, rip all this shit up, and just be an asshole. This is like some fucking Stephen King shit. Phillips' desk in the news pod, they shared a news pod. According to two sources, one who worked there at the time, when she returned from Iraq, things only got weirder. One night, while dining with members of the news team, she received the first of two threatening text messages from an unknown number on her flip phone that warned her, "Now you've crossed the line and you're going to pay for it." Phillips was visibly rattled and quickly enlisted CNN's higher-ups to identify the sender. Remarkably, the texts were traced back to Lemon, according to those same sources. So he had a burner phone where he was texting this lady some threatening shit. Isn't it interesting how the Me Too guys who are always like, "Oh, I can't believe we allowed all this to happen on our watch," are some of the worst Me Too offenders? Ain't that some shit? Because that's the thing about it. Just because he's a gay dude doesn't mean it doesn't mean that he's not sexually assaulting somebody or he's sexually harassing somebody. It's still about power dynamic. So he's still a dude doing some wild shit to female coworkers. It's fucking horrifying. So he wasn't demoted at all. He just kept getting promoted. They just kept, like the Catholic Church, they just kept moving him around. Apparently he was dating one of his producers, which you're not supposed to do in CNN, but he would just come into work with him, flaunting it that he couldn't be stopped. Once again, promoted upward. He would make fun of all the women backstage, saying some horrible things about their physical appearance. But that text message thing, you're texting women from a burner phone, you've now crossed the line and you're going to pay for it? Like, what the fuck? Is being the top of CNN that worth it? It's CNN. It's not like CNN back in the 80s and 90s. It's CNN today. A dying business. You really want to be that on top of the ball, bro? You really want to be the guy at CNN? Apparently, when Soledad O'Brien was going to host Being Black in America, he said in a production meeting with 30 other people, Soledad wasn't black enough to host Black in America. How amazing is that? That he made himself the arbiter of what's black. Ain't that some shit? Don Lemon, who everyone just thought so highly of. But this is what I always try to tell people. The dudes who go the hardest tend to be the guys you should be most worried about. And it always came across whenever Don Lemon was dismissive to people on air, his colleagues and all. He'd been doing it for years. So the idea that this is brand new information, the idea this is all brand new behavior is horseshit. It's been going on for years and he's only gotten promoted by it. And then CNN will sit there and do hours of coverage of how horrible Trump is and his Stormy Daniels horse shit. But yet you've got this guy working for you, who arguably is kind of just as bad. But hey, he's an ally, isn't he? We need all the allies we can get fighting Trump. So let's ignore Don Lemon's gross abuse of women. We had said a long time ago, Don Lemon was in the wrong business. He should be joining the Taliban. And the Taliban need a rebrand right now. And he need a spokesperson. Don Lemon would be the guy. But he didn't take us up on that offer. He still held out hope that he could make things work at CNN. And apparently they haven't fired him. They haven't done anything with him. Isn't that grand? Isn't that great? He's going to get away with it. They're not going to do anything. Someone will pick him up. And I guarantee you, watch it be MSNBC. They'll drop him and MSNBC will wait a few years and then pick him up. They picked up Keith Olbermann and he was a huge asshole to everyone at ESPN. he got a spot. That's the thing. He has to just wait this one out. Wait out. Just don't be around for a while. He'll probably do like some kind of quote unquote therapy. He'll go away for a while. They'll train him and go, hey, you can't be talking to women like that. And he'll go, okay, I won't talk about women like that. I won't talk about them. I'm be a good guy. You better be a good guy. I'm going to be a good guy. I will not send threatening text messages from a burner phone to people who take spots I want and rip up papers under desk like a fucking maniac. Because I believe that women are precious. Like, he's going to do it. He's going to have the whole apology, and I can't wait. But it's kind of funny watching gay dudes harass women. Not funny, but you understand what I mean. Like, it's kind of funny to see, oh, wow. So he thought because he was gay, he was going to get away with this shit. Like, that's really the assumption. Like, if you look at how he moved around and how he thought he was untouchable, he was black and gay, so he thought he had double shielding, so he can just treat women however he wanted to. It's not how it works. But yeah, he shitted on Harvey Weinstein for his power dynamic. But here with Don Lemon, exercising those very power dynamics. I think what Don Lemon thing highlights is most men who come out against the patriarchy deep down wish they were the patriarchy, wish they were the guys doing it. That's most of them. It's why I never take anyone in Hollywood seriously. I never take anyone with like any kind of platform seriously. You can take me seriously because I don't really have a platform. But these guys I'm always suspect of. Like, if you go out of your way to prove how much of a good guy you are, there's something suspect about you. There was a guy I knew. We happen to have mutual friends, and now he like kind of works for the Democratic Party on a low level. He, on the outside, super ally, super like pro women, pro this, pro that, but secretly one of the worst individuals I ever knew. Truly, like there were multiple women in our friend group who felt uncomfortable with him around, and were shocked that some of the males in the group still wanted him around. And eventually, things came to a head where the 2016 election happened and I was just making my willy-nilly jokes on everyone. And he decided to disconnect from me because I was problematic, only to find out afterwards that he had been saying things about me, and the women who were no longer friends with him told me what they experienced with him and went, well, here we go. Apparently, the jokester was the problem, but not the guy who works for the Democratic Party. See how that works? But that's the thing about it. If a man has to go out of his way to prove to you he's an ally and just does it without even asking, it's a problem there. And these guys tend to have the most to hide. Don Lemon's one of them. Don Lemon, Josh Whedon, like how many more? How many more do we have to fucking deal with? And go, hey, that's a sign. If it's too good to be true, it's usually too good to be true. But hey, we told everyone this weeks ago, months ago. We've been shitting on Don Lemon since the show started. Oh, you're harsh on Don Lemon. He's actually a good guy. He's actually trying his best. He's trying his best to intimidate women. He was trying his best to exercise his power dynamics. Good for him. All the promotions. Good for CNN for standing up for their values. Good for them. Hey, round of applause for them, guys. I don't know which button on this it is. But yeah, there's a soundboard here. We don't even use it. I don't even think it's on right now. But good for them. Good for them. And I can't wait for all the Trump coverage of how he's a horrible, disgusting human being while Don Lemon still has a job at CNN. Kind of makes you wonder what the other ones are up to, doesn't it? Anderson Cooper, I've heard nothing but great things about, so I will hold out hope that Anderson's real legit. Even though when you see Anderson Cooper now in HD or 4K, he kind of looks like the Night King because he's just getting old, and that's kind of sad that Anderson Cooper's getting old because he was my anchor for a long time. Him and Wolf Blitzer were my anchors as a kid growing up, and they're getting old. Who replaced him? Don Lemon. If we're only looking at the past, he's due for another promotion. This article that Variety just dropped is only going to be like, look what he accomplished while doing look what he accomplished while still having a TV program to do. That guy's a hard worker. He's working behind the scenes and in front of the camera. Promote him up. The women now will just silence them, pay them off, and everything will be cool. We'll tell him to stop sending weird texts through burner phones because that's unhinged. But we think he's due for a primetime spot again. There's renewed interest. He couldn't even get a morning show right. But hey, you only fail upwards in 24-hour news. Look at Rachel Maddow. Used to love Rachel Maddow, but then she kind of got kooky. I wonder if I could fail upwards at WRKM. I wonder if there's an anchor on WRKM that I can come after and then ruin his life, and then I get bumped up. I don't think he would want me on a nightly news, though. I don't like to work weekly. They try to disperse me on other shows, and I'm like, no, thank you. This is more than enough for me. Maybe I should start sending threatening text messages to the president of WRKM. Maybe that will get me the promotion I want around here and get actually paid. Maybe Don Lemon has a point. This is a weird way to end up. We were to end the episode. Maybe that burner phone thing's not a bad idea. But then again, what do I know? What does Don know? What does anyone know? Bobby doesn't know jack shit. He sits here every week. What does anybody know? But I can tell you one thing for sure. I think we all know how this one is going to end.